Mr. Dion. Here. Ms. Carlo.
Here.
Mr. Pascal. Here. Mr. Dubwire, present. Mr. Moore.
Here.
Mr. DeChiro.
Here.
Mr. Paradis.
Here. With the quorum present, we'll move to our first item, which is the minutes from the January 25th meeting. Anyone with changes?
No.
With said, I call for a motion for approval. Thank you, Ms. Perez. Thank you, Ms. Carlo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is our annual audit, and today we have Ken Coughlin, as always, here. And Ken, if you want to come up and tell us what we did right or wrong this year, we appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Sorry. I'm gonna put my stuff on there. That's just right. Go right here. Right here. It looks like I missed the fun part of the meeting. I didn't realize anything else was going on. The only thing I knew when we couldn't find a parking spot, I said, "Oh my God, what's going on?"
We're happy to see the community returning.
Yes. Well, as you all know, I do the annual audit for the IBA. The good news is there's nothing that's you guys don't know. Mike gives you the internal financial statements. The audit we presented is no different than the internal audit statement. So that the information that you're getting on a regular basis is obviously good information. As you all know, we have to do the audit because of the ABO, the Authority Budget Office. We also, because it's such a small audit, we really don't do any samples or anything. We look at all the activity of the agency. So you should be, that gives you some solace. When you look at the balance sheet, it hasn't changed that much. We have cash of about $275,000, property held for development of about $175,000. And that's it. That's the assets. There's really no liabilities to speak of, and the rest is equity. Again, when you look at the income statement, consistent with prior years, we lost about $41,000, which is pretty consistent with prior years. So the one thing that we have going for us now is that we do have some interest-bearing accounts going with the interest rates as they are. We were able to make about $13,000 worth of income in cash and investment income, so that was good. The rest of the financial statements are really boilerplate of what they have been in before. Going through the footnotes, our accounting policies, which have not changed, a little definition of what we do as an IBA, going over our cash investments and the legal requirements we have. The property held for development is also listed, which is one of the comments I have to speak about. And then we still have a line of credit available to acquire property for about $1 million, which obviously we have not had the need to use, but it is there and available. The other item that we always present is the letter to the governing board, which goes over our accounting policy, or goes over what we've done and our required communications to the board. As I mentioned, the accounting policies have not changed for the year. There's really no sensitive estimates or disclosures from the financial statements. We had no difficulties in performing the audit. We had no corrected or uncorrected misstatements. As I said, the numbers that Mike gives to you on a monthly basis, we find that they're obviously accurate. We had no disagreements with management. We did have 3 findings, which 2 of which are continued from the prior year. One is the valuation of donated properties. We find that over time, some things happen. For instance, someone donates property, and if there's not money involved, it's hard for me to say. So what we need is a policy, and I think it's been approved, it just has to be implemented, is that if we do get property deeded to us from whatever agency, from individual, our responsibility is to report that property at fair value. Fair value is a nebulous kind of term. What I've done in the past is ask the assessor to value it and then put the property onto that value. If we find, for instance, that we're getting a parking lot that's not really worth a lot of money, what I recommend is that we put it on the books for $100 just to keep track of it, just at a nominal value, just to keep track of it, and so that that we just don't lose track of the fact that we do have those properties. The second part of that is the impairment of properties that are held for development. We don't have that many properties, and especially most of our properties are valued at those nominal values, so you really can't write it down any longer. But we do have 3 properties that were valued at the end of the year about $170,000 worth. Now, in that case, this year we do have a contract, or we had a contract when I was in here to sell those properties. So I knew that value was a good value. But that's not always the case. And I know you plan on doing more of these activities, so it really has to be part of the process that properties, one, as we acquire them, are valued at fair value, and it can be conservative in that regard. And two, the properties that we hold, we always evaluate to see that they're held at no higher than what we think is fair value. The last item that was the minutes, we noted the number.
It's my understanding that all the properties we have, the number comes directly from the assessor's rolls.
No.
Where does it come from?
It's come from in the past for me. Because if we get donated, if we get property donated and it's no cost, who tells me, who tells the assessor, and who tells when does the assessor tell Mike that it's worth this much? There's no communication in that regard. Mike might not even know it was donated.
So what you're saying is we didn't report that we had the property, it's not what we're saying the value is.
Both things. If we get new properties, and that didn't happen this year, but it's happened in the past. If we get properties donated to us, they have to be valued at fair value, a conservative value. That has to be in place.
So we received the property this past year from Albany County for the fire service.
Right.
The value that we would have listed in there for the insurance is what we would take from the assessment.
Okay.
That's we would go with the roll, right? Because that's,
So that
would be fair market value.
How does that get to the books? Who told Mike to record that? How did that get communicated to the books?
Okay, so we have the right value, we're missing the connection.
I don't know, because I've never seen that. My whole point with this whole thing is, I'm doing it, and then I'm auditing my own numbers. I want you to do it and be able to audit the numbers.
Okay, so you simply need a trail of how that number came about.
Yeah,
And the fact that it got to them.
and it's,
I guess I understand that.
Yeah.
All right.
But one question, Ken, so if we acquire a property, say through an auction for 17,000,
yeah.
wouldn't that be the value?
It would, Rod, but it could be that you bought it for 17,000, and this happened a lot. We were really wheeling and dealing with properties some years ago. We bought properties, and we found out later on, we had to keep writing it down. It may not be that day, but it was worth 17,000 that day. A year later, you may find out, oh, we can't do anything with this property, we gotta write it down to $100. So,
So are we doing that annually?
we should be doing that annually. I'm doing it annually now, but that's my problem, It's really a function of you guys, and I want to audit it, not be doing it.
So you're essentially saying, say every November, I could meet with our assessor and say, I want to confirm these values.
I did it, and that's what I do. I give him a list of the sheet,
Yeah.
a list of the properties, and first of all, I found that, there's some properties he or she had that I didn't even have, because I didn't know about.
Right.
So that's.
Okay.
It comes from the assessor, I assume that's, okay.
Well, the assessor is the best professional we have, right? I mean, I don't want to pay people. I don't want to pay, especially for these small values, but I do want to be conservative. If the assessor says it goes both ways. I had one property, and I don't know if it was the only serious property, the assessor's assessed value was much lower than what I had on the books for. When I asked her about it, she said, oh no, that property is worth much more than that. The assessed value does not represent the fair value of that property. She's the professional, so I went with her judgment, you know what I mean? So,
Sounds good.
yeah,
Fair enough, I think we have that, we can,
Yeah.
and it's on paper.
yeah, it's a matter of implementing, that's all it is, and who does it? Do you do it, does Mike do it,
Yeah,
whatever.
I think on this one though, now that I recall, we have an appraisal on the fires.
I can't.
Oh, we have an appraisal on the
We do have
fires.
an appraisal of the fire service.
I don't.
It's not in the books.
Right, we're missing.
Good for
that
you.
piece.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'll fall on the sword for that, and I never knew that.
Well, this is why, it's a certain,
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
yeah.
But we-
Honestly, I'll
we
blame
have-
Mike, because.
Well, I always do that. I always do that. Well, he said, am I supposed to be doing it? I said, it doesn't really matter to me who does it. It just has to be done.
Yeah.
And at some point, Mike has to do it because he has to make the adjustment.
All
Yeah.
the funds.
Yeah. So, but it's better off if somebody else doesn't get some money. So. And then the last item, which was a small item, was many of the minutes we noted just didn't have the document, the dates document. It was, just didn't say what the window was. It just went into the meetings. It was nice, one piece minute said, Councilman Ralph came into the meeting at 9:46, but it didn't have a date of the meeting, so, we gotta be, and there was quite a few of those, so we gotta be attentive to it. So,
Point taken.
I don't know who's getting it.
So,
What time period was that?
2024.
does the board have any questions for Scott?
Thank you.
We resolved the minute issue.
Yeah.
So the template has the dates in there.
Yeah.
And I fully understand the
Good.
value.
Well, good time. Call me. I'm always around.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. All set?
Well, we'll see you next year.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, I'm sure Sonny, you checked that we got from the bakery, Scarlett?
It's in equity still.
It's in equity.
It's in escrow, sorry.
And it's
Kate
escrow.
holds it until we,
Okay, so that's an escrow. Are we earning any interest on that, or is the bank just using that?
We can't.
We can't.
It's an attorney escrow, so. yes,
So wait a minute, so the attorney is getting the interest on it?
well, the state of New York is because we're not allowed to. And if you want to be an escrow agent, you're going to need a heck of an agreement and there's
Okay.
liability.
it's 20K, I think we'll survive it.
But usually, that's what happens, the attorney, if there's no realtor, the attorney gets the down payment, holds it in escrow to closing. And as part of, that if it doesn't close, depending on the reason, it can go back or it goes to you.
Okay. So sometime in the future, that should be in our checking account.
Well, when you close,
When you close.
yeah, I
Okay,
cut it to you at the closing date.
thank you.
Just
I still like that.
as I think about it, we approved the minutes. In the minutes from the meeting, we approved the minutes of last month. So it's in the minutes. We approved those minutes and now they were full.
Correct. I mean, it's a valid number, it's
My
my,
question is, didn't we just approve, what's today, Mr. February, didn't we just approve the January minutes?
but it wasn't boarded properly. Is the issue.
We had a motion to approve the minutes of January 2025, and it was approved.
Yeah, but if you pull those minutes up, it doesn't detail in the minutes that they were, well, these were January, but the past, they didn't detail. Look, it's a small thing, take it, my
I'm
bad.
gonna send you a template of minutes because I was looking for something and these minutes are not. I'll send you a template.
Okay,
We need to record motions, who makes them, all of that.
right,
And I just happened to look at that, something when I was looking for, what we did on the fire sites, and some of it's bullet points, some of it's just.
Well, it's the same as the assessments, they're there, but they're not linked.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's not in the right place and worded the right way. Moving on. Mike, you want to give us our review?
These, in front of these, 4 o'clock today, so everything's up to date. All bills have been paid, there's no outstanding invoices or bills.
There is one outstanding invoice, and it's also a fact that will make everybody happy. The vote is gone.
Oh.
I did, we had a quick, short window, so I called the executive board for approval for $1,100.
Is that the script?
I called Lance 3 times that I don't have the invoice. I'll do business with Lance, he never told me.
Yeah, he's a little slow.
Yeah.
But just when you get it, let me know.
All right. I called him the other day.
Well done.
That's the big deal.
All invoices that I have are paid.
Yes, fair enough.
So we have, as of today, $267,000 in the money market IDA account. I only keep a small amount in the checking account to clear checks, so we don't write checks, I just leave it like that. So right now, I have nothing to write, so that's where it stands as of today. And as you can see on the second page, really not much activity for the first month and a half, almost 2 months now. We have just the interest income for January, $875 almost, and then just a few checks, quarterly payments that we had to make, and a couple monthly bills that we had to pay. So that was $9,409. So So that's all we have to date for the 2 months.
Okay.
I will tell you that, you know, I know it's the topic, of the IDA coming up, next month. I'm hoping that our attorney, for the tax certiorari case can come and talk about
Oh,
this. At 3:45 this afternoon, the client agreed to our revised proposal because we went back.
We're gonna discuss.
Yeah, I know, that, but.
Yeah, I just
she
asked
asked
me
me
to
to
mention
help.
that, knowing that we were gonna
Yeah,
go.
so we were negotiating with for a better deal, money wise, and at 3:45 today, they agreed to our proposal. So we'll have more probably within the next few weeks, but, I'll be meeting with Dan, and so by the end of the week, and then I know you talked with the people, so, we'll go from there. But as of that, that's all I can tell you right now. There's really not much more to say on that.
any questions? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Yeah, with nothing else, at this point, I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session to consult with the legal team. Pardon? Yes. Why not? Let's do a motion to approve the financial reports, Mr. Moore.
Yeah.
Mr. Dugwire, seconds it, all in favor? Opposed?
Who was first and second?
Jeff and.
Jeff and Ralph. All right, let me end the stream.
That was to approve the financial.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Now, at this point, I'll call for a motion for us to go to executive session to consult with our legal team. Thank you, Ms. Harlow. Thank you, Mr. Dugwire. All in favor?
Okay.
Now you can shut down.
Here we go.
All right.
Okay.
So when